In today's video, I want to talk about translating your WordPress websites in a very easy, accommodating, and team-based way with the plugin from Weglot. Here's the thing about AI. It's allowing us to create more content than ever before. And while that might be bad for some people, it's good for others who are doing it with a human editorial forward-facing process. We can create as much content as we want. And let's face it, things are getting more competitive than ever before. Everyone's leveraging AI to produce content, to reach new audiences. And if you're doing the same, maybe it's time to reach an audience in different languages. Perhaps you're selling to a global audience. It's an e-commerce store, a services-based business, a digital product. Weglot will help you translate your content inside of WordPress in a very fast and efficient way, also leveraging AI to make it sound like your brand and your voice. And before we get too far, this is a sponsored video from Weglot. They asked me to take a look at their product. They also support us at the WP Minute, helping us publish and produce content for WordPress professionals. They didn't get any editorial say on the video, and all thoughts are my own. Okay, we're going to spend time in two different areas in this video. We're going to start in the Weglot dashboard hosted on their website, and we're going to spend some time on the WordPress side. I'll admit the most interesting parts are going to happen on the dashboard, but the Weglot plugin is available for free to download and install from WordPress.org. You simply search for Weglot in the plugin directory, add it, install it, and activate it. It's going to give us an API key, and you drop that API key right into your WordPress settings page here, and then that'll activate the connection from your WordPress website to Weglot. What's interesting to know is that it's not going through and just translating all of the sites, all of the pages or posts in your site. You have to activate that when a user visits that page or post. They will select if they need it translated, and when they translate it, it's translating it on demand and then saving the translation after that. I'm sure there might be a way to bulk translate all the pages, but Weglot's saying, well, you don't have to go and do all of that. If pages don't need to be translated in particular languages, then why waste the cycles or the billing to do something like that? So I do appreciate that ease of use and that effectiveness of how they've set up the plugin. I want to go back to that dashboard. The dashboard will give us that sort of bird's eye view of what we have left in our plan for translated words per month, the requests, and the different languages that we have enabled on our site. But I just wanted to give some quick attention to this dashboard here. Very simple, very clean, and easy to use. I don't find anything really getting in the way or anything really confusing in what would be kind of a confusing process, because we're taking words we kind of don't know and translating them for our original language. So thumbs up, very easy to use, the dashboard. I think one of the biggest advantages Weglot has for translating content on your WordPress website is a very team-based context. So if you're working at a big publication or small publication with a staff, or if you're working in some kind of brand or e-commerce company, and there's multiple people and people that don't necessarily need access to WordPress, let alone like having to train them and educate them on how to navigate and translate pages inside of WordPress, you're doing all of that on the Weglot side. You're adding team members and the ability to log into Weglot to modify the translations for your WordPress website. We'll see it demoed in a little bit, but the dashboard is really built around that experience. It's not just, hey, here's a collection of all the translated pages and posts on WordPress inside of Weglot. It's actually giving us this editor experience, which I think is really important for brands where translations really matter. Let's take a look at something like clicking into the Portuguese translations here. You'll see when we get to our demo site in a moment, you have all of these words, paragraphs, phrases, text, and content on the left-hand side. And in my demo site today, we're looking at pizza recipes, and it's taking the paragraphs and it's showing us on the right-hand side, here's what the translation looks like for your website. And any user who has access to this can click right in, give it certain labels, assign it to another user, edit, modify, and save notes. So if these are really important pricing pages or e-commerce pages across large brands, this is important because you're collaborating on things with folks who might know a different language than the source language, and there's just a lot of stuff happening, right? It's not something that you're just going to manage all of that communication and organization inside of WordPress. Weglot's saying, no, you come into our website, we do the translations here, you collaborate and edit here on the translations. And I think that's really smart. It's something that WordPress doesn't need to do all that. A plugin doesn't need to do all of that inside of WordPress. You can have it right here on this dashboard. Speaking of AI, you can actually improve with AI by clicking on any of these translated lines or segments, and it will reprocess that through AI, or you can just modify this and hand write in whatever you want. So I really like how they're subtly introducing AI and not making it just everything, powered by AI, which I really appreciate. One of the new features that they recently released is the language model for AI. And even this is not like super heavy. It's not super complex or, over the top. In the AI language model feature, it's allowing these translations to come through with more of your brand voice or your writing voice. And you can just define that simply by putting in a website description. What is this website about? Who's reading it? What are they about? What's the tone of voice that you want to infer, and who is the audience? Like, what are they? General? Are they technical? Is it non-technical? These are very simple settings, but it's impactful, and you're not looking at a Claude Code terminal, right? Where you're trying to figure out, okay, do I have to create a projects.md file? Do I have to, prompt this and have memory and context and all this stuff? It's very lightweight, but very effective at the same time. And I think that's what I really like with what they have going on here. All right, let's get back into WordPress for a moment. We're going to look at the options page. The one sort of takeaway that I have for sort of like a usability feedback for Weglot is this page is just one big options page. I feel like it could be organized a little bit better. I think it could have a more modern feel. This feels kind of just like, here's a bunch of options on a page. I know this is very nuanced and very sort of like inside baseball, but I would love it if it were tabbed content that I could kind of context switch, because now I'm just looking at a bunch of stuff. But anyway, it's very straightforward. You put in your original language and then select your destination languages, and we'll just add something. We'll just do Portuguese, Brazilian as well, and we'll just add that to the list, and you can just build out the available languages for your WordPress website. And then we get into what most people are interested in, like, what does this look like? How do people access the actual translation when they go to a site? They have the button preview. I won't go through every single option here, but it's fairly explanatory. This is what the button's going to look like: Portuguese, Brazilian. It's sort of just giving you a demo of what that button might look like. The types of flags: rectangle, square, circle, and that'll change right at the top so you can kind of see that in action. Do you want flags? You can disable that if you want. Is it a drop down or is it a cross like that? And you have these options to sort of like modify how that button shows up. You can override with CSS if you want. And then where does this go? In the menu, as a widget, as a shortcode, in the source code, like if you're writing custom templates for WordPress and you want to go right into that custom template, you have that option as well. I think some of the magic, though, for the non-technical people like me, or the people who just want to like get this into a site really quick, is you can use the editor, which allows us to get a visual representation of the site and literally put the translation button where we want it. So if I click on this, once the Weglot switcher editor loads, this will give us a visual representation of where we can move the translation button around in order to translate the pages or posts that our viewer is looking at. Really love this feature. Makes a ton of sense. I can move this around anywhere I want, like after the post content, before the post content. Any well-coded theme, I think, will work well with this. I'm not a developer, so I don't know exactly how or what kind of theme is needed for it to load properly. But I think if you're using any kind of modern WordPress theme, well-coded theme, things will work out pretty well. I'm just going to leave this right here, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at how this works on the front end. But I really like this for power users, non-developers, people who don't want to mess around too much with this stuff. This makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. Okay, we're in the front end of our website. Now we're going to just play with the translator. I put it back to default so that it puts the language switcher back down in the bottom right-hand corner. That's where it starts off by default. And that's how we're going to switch this page to Portuguese. We'll click on Portuguese. It'll take 1 second, and it will go ahead and translate that right on the fly, and I can go right back to English if I want, and it goes right back to the English setting. You'll notice at the top, I switch it back to Portuguese, that it switches to a /PT for Portuguese in order to identify that slug for the Portuguese translation. Now, if we go to our Weglot dashboard on weglot.com, I'm just going to refresh this just to double check to make sure that is updated. And this particular one, let me go back one more time. That was the Meat Lovers Pizza. And if we search for Meat Lovers, let's see if I find that correctly. There it is right there, Meat Lovers Pizza, the Carnivore's Paradise. That's a Claude title, of course. There's the translation right there in Portuguese, so they say. And Weglot has translated that right there. And at any point, I can just modify, edit this, delete it if I don't want it to be translated, mark it and review, again, if I'm working on a team, or improve with AI if I think it needs some improvement there. So very easy and very effective. And again, you can jump in and jump out to modify these translations at any time. I would say that this is a fantastic way to translate your WordPress website. And just to wrap things up with the pricing, you can start for free for 2,000 translated words per month. I think this is fine if you have a small service site. I think plumbers, electricians, accountants, your very small business, it's website that works and operates in multiple languages. If they're changing pricing or availabilities or specials, 2,000 words a month is probably going to work really well for the most critical information that they need to get out. And then starter and business and beyond, go 10,000 words, 50,000 words, 200,000 words, and of course, more languages translated. Check it out at weglot.com/pricing. Say thanks to Weglot for helping support the WP Minute and sponsoring videos like this. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want more stuff. As always, we'll see you in the next video.